Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is the final game of this evening's Monkey Bubble EU Invitational. We're sorry for the wait. We've got everything ready, lined up, and we are about to go. I remain Big Hungry Phil, but we've got a change of co-caster. Yokai has had to go off and see somebody at a club about something. I didn't ask details. And so we've got Beatdown Boulevard joining us all the way from the US of A. Beat, how's it going?
Doing great, Phil. One minor correction, though. I'm actually from Canada. Spoiler alert.
Wow.
We do
Okay,
not
I'm
live in
so
igloos.
sorry.
No,
Man.
that's okay. It's just it's a common mistake. Not even mistake. I'm lumped in being told like, oh yeah, you're basically American. It's like
NA.
yeah,
It's all the same.
it's literally just NA. It's like okay.
This is going to be one of the first rounds of our losers brackets. Profit versus Samclan Outcast. Sorry, Profit SKG Orange, the full name, versus Samclan Outcast. Whoever wins here will be going up against Banshee Esports tomorrow. Banshee Esports certainly put on a pretty good showing earlier on this evening, so it's a tough opponent to come up against. This should be a good match. The two teams I think are fairly evenly matched. That neither of them have a huge amount of contenders or contenders trials experience, but a lot of people certainly some people whose names you might recognize. The Cook is one that stands out to me. Greek player, currently preparing to play with the Greek national team in the Overwatch World Cup if they can get the funding to go. So yeah, again, I think potentially a very good, very entertaining matchup.
All right, and another thing I wanted we were talking before. This is the winners bracket still, correct? So even
no,
if
this is
not.
This is the losers bracket. This is round one. I forget the exact game number. But yeah, whoever goes through here will go forward to play against Banshee Esports, who fell out to Nuriki Esports, who have stormed in from nowhere. They beat they beat Clockwork Vendetta in the first round.
Wow.
They 3-0'd Clockwork Vendetta. Clockwork Vendetta also lost their losers bracket game, I'm sorry to say, and so no longer in this tournament. But that's okay. I'm sure we'll see more of them in the future. So yeah, going up against Banshee Esports, again, a team that I think has done a very good job of standing out in the games we've seen from them so far this evening. It's just unfortunate they ran into a very strong contender.
Yeah, it does happen here, but now it's, as you say, losers bracket. Both these teams, Profit and Samclan, are basically at the point where it's one and done. So though you were mentioning how both of these teams, not really any contenders players, big names with the exception of the Cook, it's really interesting to see like what this unknown, unproven talent can really show us here. Because you know what, like EU, despite the memes that other regions like to make, there's a lot of talent there.
I'm sorry, what? What memes?
You know what? Never mind. It doesn't matter.
You come into our region, start memeing about our players.
Referencing. It's not the same thing.
Okay, fine. I'll let you off.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, you know, it's a little harder in EU. We all speak lots of different languages. It can be a little bit trickier to get synergy on the ladder. Sometimes you've just got to go all out and hope for the best.
Yeah. The crazy thing with that, actually, when I was first told, it never occurred to me that, because obviously we don't have that problem in NA. Everyone here speaks English, but...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's a different kettle of fish over here, but we should hopefully be getting ready to go into our first map. So for those of you that are just joining in for this particular broadcast, it's a 1-to-3 format, so it's slightly different from best of 5. We're going to be going until a team has scored 3, and then that's it. We're done. It could be over in 3. We could go all the way to 5. We could even go further if we get a lot of draws. It's unlikely, but it could happen. We are going to be starting on Lijiang Tower, so we start on a control map first. And for those of you who are tuning into this with no idea of how Overwatch works, our control map it's a small best of 3. First team to 2 maps on these smaller maps wins, and it's about control of a set area of space. Lijiang Tower is a map we have seen already tonight, and it's a bit of a classic. It's one of these ones that gets brought up in scrims time and time and again because there's a lot of variety and a lot of stuff you can do with this map.
100%. All 3 of these maps are very flexible. Even given where the meta is now, we're seeing a lot of Reaper and Doomfist. It's still possible that we could see, the Pharah is really great on almost every point of Lijiang Tower. Even the Mei, if you play it on Control Center, there is a lot of room for you to work with here.
We have seen the game so far this evening be very heavily dictated by the quality of the Pharah player so far. So that's the thing that we need to look out for here is who has the better Pharah, if indeed we actually see any Pharah play at all. I mean, looking at what we've got coming out of this map, and 20 seconds before anybody gets out of spawn, so who knows what can happen at this point. But the composition that we're seeing coming out from SKG Profits with Liliong on the Doomfist and the Cook on the Pharah. This is much more of the meta comp that we have come to expect, and in fact, we are seeing actually the swap over there on the opposing side as well.
Yeah, I think what Samclan needs to do to actually no, you know what? Since they're playing the Pharah mirror, it really is going to be about that 2v2 in the air there with the Pharah Mercy, and as well as because the Pharah's doing their own thing, both Doomfist are kind of on their own there in terms of damage. But luckily, you know, Doomfist being a very melee heavy character doesn't have to worry about any.
Well, that's going to be the first couple of kills of the game. Over and done. Alpha Game able to get rid of the main tank. Hades down. J Map, well, as down is down as well. But in that Pharah v Pharah, Cook is the first of four, brought back up into the fight by Dutchman. Lilium now on the flat, goes in for a different angle. Not quite able to connect with anything there, instead going for the wraparound. Does manage to get a nice solid punch there onto the Sigma. Manages the wraparound, but the shielding and the healing coming in there onto his opposite number of JM5 AP is enough to keep them alive and in the fight. We have got early control point given over to Samclan, but they are rapidly losing members with the Cook getting rid of JRH. Liliong finding a kill onto Alpha Gamer, and the Cook taking it to the skies, finding Raiden with a rocket. They have flipped this over, and we are going to see them start to tick up on that capture progress. Oh, apologies. It seems like I may have lost my co-caster there for the time being. We'll bring him back in.
We're good. We're good.
Oh, no, there he's there. Sorry. Yeah. Lost him a little bit, but he's back. He's here.
Lost him back. Like I was going to say, Prophet SKG doing a really good job there. Giving up the point is okay sometimes if you know you're going to win the fight. That's why the percentage of the game for SKG has already been matched now.
Well, yeah, and they are about to increase that lead. They have flipped the point over, and that was a really quick, really dominant team fight. It seemed like the entirety of Samclan fell over in a fraction of a second there. So, yeah, very dominant team fight. And it's going to be very hard for them to aggress back into this point. Hades does have the minefield ready to go. And, you know, you think of them as sort of a little bit annoying, those mines, but they can really stop you taking a point.
100%. And the beauty of it is the only thing expended by SKG was the Coalescence.
Yeah, Lilium did get a punch into the back. Didn't quite find the pick that he wanted. Instead, hitting a tank rather than one of the more squishier targets. Has to back out a little bit. And now we're seeing the Cook coming in through the window. Has the barrage ready to go. In comes the minefield. Might not need the barrage here. Is going to throw it in anyway. Down goes the shield. Down goes the Orisa. Only one on the back of that barrage. Might wait an ultimate that they want back. But as they hit 70% here, we're going to see that this is getting very close to one fight territory for Samclan.
You know what, even though the barrage may not have been necessary, you don't really mind because you still got the Meteor Strike out of JM's sap there. One really crucial ultimate no longer available for Samclan, and they really need all the help they can get going into this last fight. Just the Supercharger, just the Rocket Barrage. It's now or never, Phil.
But these two ults put in the right place can absolutely eat through a team that doesn't have a defensive ult ready to go. Lilian's going to kick things off using the Meteor Strike. Hasn't found anything with it just yet. And JM5P is able to find Setsu as well. Out comes the barrage from Raiden. Will find Flipsy. But in the meantime, Lilian and the Cook able to get both tanks down. PRH able to find the Cook. And Dutchman brings Seizu back into the fight. It looks like Samclan might be in with a small chance of flipping this point back over. That's going to be a displacement for Albino, knocked out of the point already, but very, very low for Setsu. Albino being pressured by Liliong, who is still alive and in the fight. So the point has not yet flipped over. Liliong able to keep this going and stall out indefinitely. Hades coming back in, has to use the adaptive shield. Already take a lot of damage. Support's not quite there to keep them in the fight, but Liliong able to get in and take down Raiden. The Cook finds JM5 AP. Liliong able to stall that out to great effect. Needs to get rid of the Wrecking Ball, and that is going to be the objective secured. 1-0 on Li Jiang for SKG Profit.
Amazing comeback there from Prophet SKG Orange, playing it so well, and this is why Doomfist is so good in this meta. Killing the Moira and preventing the Coalescence healing from going off, it's really huge, and the start of a snowball there, and because the Wrecking Ball, you know, Hades seemed like he was getting really low there, it didn't really end up mattering because he bought enough time.
And the fact that Lilian was able to just continuously chain those abilities together and get additional shields and just make himself so hard to hit and so hard to kill when he did get hit, did a really, really good job of stalling that out. Now, what we're seeing coming out here from SKG Profit, in previous metas, we might have called this a little bit unusual. Okay, do you know what? I got baited. We were looking at the Sim for the early TP, a little bit of progress, and then the Cook swapping over onto the Reaper. So we've not quite got the matchup. JM5P is going to be playing the Mei here. An early pick, Lil Young down already. No mercy this time. Big Rock goes in onto the Cook, who has to get out of the way with the Wraith form. And those Mei walls already being put to good effect to separate out members of SKG. Out comes the kinetic grasp, but a big rock again into the face of Hades 24-17, who goes down. But Lil Young is able to equalize things, taking Albino down. So main tank's now down for both teams. Alpha Gamer in a little bit of trouble there. Is going to get pressured by the enemy Doomfist. Lilian getting it in and out very quickly, building up towards this Meteor Strike. And out comes the Coalescence from Flipsy. Already Flipsy able to get Alpha Gamer down, and with Lilian getting Raiden as well. Punched into the back. Doesn't quite want to commit the dive. Goes in and gets the kill onto PRH. That is going to be them opening this point and getting first capture.
And although dying first, Lil Young is playing this Doomfist so well here. Against the Mei Reaper, you have to be exceptionally disciplined. You got to get in, do your damage, get out, and don't overcommit even if you don't get a kill, because that is a very easy way to get frozen, get killed, kind of like how we saw before. But SKG managed to stall long enough to bring him back into it. Now he has the Meteor Strike ready to go, and already an opening pick. This guy is nuts.
Well, that's really unfortunate, and Kozia going down so early. Sound barrier wasn't quite online, so at least they've not that, but now the aggression coming out from SKG means they have got a few kills on the back end. The Mei wall stopped them getting much more than that, but coming into this next fight, we're looking at quite the war chest now for SKG Profit, with the sound barrier, with the Death Blossom, and with the Gravitic Flux.
And really smart here, Prophet SKG, to hold up close to your spawn like that. These slow-moving compositions we're seeing now makes it really hard to commit a lot. It's Young commits a punch.
Yeah, every single time that Samclan come back into this fight, Lil Young is there to get an opening pick just with that right click, and it means that they are never in the position to take a full-on team fight. Lil Young on the Doomfist here is doing so much to facilitate this fight for SKG Profit.
Very interesting sound barrier there. Hoping Kozer might just be swapping off the Lucio.
Hades got a big old environmental kill, which is not, you don't normally see those on this particular map. What is going on here?
Yeah, on top of that, wow, so Kozer isn't actually swapping, committed that sound barrier. It's going to be really detrimental here for the side of Samclan. They needed that extra shield for the Gravitic Flux we're about to see.
Gravitic Flux is out, and as is the answering Blizzard. Not anybody really caught too heavily in that Blizzard, and really, once that particle effect has cleared, it is still SKG Profit in large and in charge of the point, ragdolling their enemies' bodies all over the place. 99-0 on that second point. A very dominant win there for Profit.
Yeah, much more convincing here on this second round. Lil Young really started to just blossom on this Doomfist, getting so many key picks, both mid-fight and even pre-fight. And I think that's what really caught Samclan, you know, out of position and off their guard, because every time they would try to engage into Profit, they would just lose somebody immediately. You need all 6 members here, man. Lil Young on this Doom. This guy.
It's the power of the burst kill, isn't it? Because it's not a thing that you can heal up particularly easily, because it's all instantaneous damage. It's the 100 from the punch. It's the 150 from the back wall. It means you can kill anything that isn't a tank. And it was always something that wasn't a tank that died first in the fight. It was the Mei. It was the Lucio. And it just seemed like Samclan didn't really have an answer. I think swapping JM5 AP off of the Doomfist onto the Mei meant that they just didn't have that easy pick potential. They were maybe thinking they could try and freeze the Doomfist, but Lil Young's discipline was so good that he was never in a position to be frozen.
Yeah, that's right. And honestly, if you were having trouble with this Mei Reaper not being able to really make it work, especially with how slow she moves, maybe switching to the Doomfist is probably better, because it's like you're saying, you don't have that instant pick potential. You don't have the ability to check a Doomfist the way, you know, Doomfist, the way you really only can if you have a Doomfist of your own, because if you have one, Doomfist has to think to himself, like, okay, I can't just jump in all willy-nilly. I could very easily just get punched.
Agreed. And of course the opposite thing is that it means that your supports have to be that little bit more conservative. They've got to constantly have their head on a swivel because they know that they are the key target for the Doomfist, who can get in, punch them right out of the competition, and get back again. But if you know the enemy doesn't have a Doomfist, then your supports are much more emboldened, and it means that things like Flipsy can get in and just generate those coalescences incredibly quickly. So the fact that they opted not to run the Doomfist, I think, really hurt them. And it looks like they're currently thinking about running it again here. Obviously, still in Spawn, lots can change in that time. So maybe we won't see the Doomfist. Maybe we won't see the Soldier. Honestly, the Soldier is the thing that surprises me in that pick if that comes out of Spawn.
Yeah, no, I again, attacking Spawn, I wouldn't hold too much stock to it here. Prophet SKG, though, on the other hand, on this defense, opting for the Pharah is very interesting because there are some walls in architecture where the Cook can keep himself safe while throwing rockets in there, but not a lot, especially once the fight gets pushed to the point. You really could get jam stopped going back to Spawn and coming out on the Soldier. And if the team can push SKG back to the point, it's going to be harder for the Cook to get that damage in.
It really is, Pete, but they're running a mirror matchup now. So they've got the Pharah and the Doomfist on both sides. And you always think of the defensive Pharah as being having the advantage. And, well, early doors, getting a kill onto Albino so early, and Niliong able to get in and get JMSAP when they don't have that defense shows just how strongly favored you are in that position. Honestly, what are they going to do to shut down Liliong here?
Well, for the most part, they gotta be able to take these corridors here on Blizzard World. You can't just move move around and about in the open because it's so easy for Raiden, for the Cook, for Lil Young to get this free opening damage onto you, and by the time they engage, you guys are already low HP. So Samclan, they gotta play this smart. They gotta use all the architecture they can and shouldn't lose a single bit of health until they get right in front of Prophet SKG.
I think it says a lot about not only the fact that that last team fight was so clearly won by SKG Prophet, but the fact that they've come out with this with so much ult charge. We're about to see Liliong get that Meteor Strike already. And yeah, that's going to be really helpful either for getting out or getting in and doing some of the damage. You see Liliong just popping in and out of this fight the whole time. But out comes the Coalescence from PRHU, has now got the advantage on Flipsy. Out comes the Meteor Strike. And the Hulk combo is going to find James Abbott as well. The follow-up punch, not quite enough to take Alpha Gamer out of the fight, but honestly, it's enough to just stop that team fight in its tracks, and Liliong in and out once again. Flipsy will have the Coalescence in this next fight, which is going to be a big advantage for.
And part of what Prophet SKG are doing so well here is they're making use of their halt ability very well. They're halt punching, they're halt meteor striking. Pretty soon we'll probably see them combine it with the Graphitic Flux. Either way, it's such a versatile ability and so important in this meta. It's really nice to see Prophet SKG making use of it. And Samclan, two things they need to do is A, get more use out of their own halt and be able to at least predict or try to avoid the use of Prophets, because right now it's just easy pickings for Prophet SKG.
Well, here's the thing. We are about to see Liliong lap James Sapp in ult charge.
Oh my goodness.
It's just happened. James Sapp has just not had the opportunity to get close and start doing the damage that they need. Well, no need for that barrage there because JM Sapp is down. Ill comes Liliong again. And now the Cook looking for this 1v1 against Raiden. Doesn't quite manage to get it, but in the meantime, the ground war is going on, and Liliong is able to get in and follow up from a couple of those body blows from the Cook and take Raiden out of the fight. And they're going to have 2 DPS ults in this next fight compared to just 1 from Raiden coming in from Samclan.
It is starting to feel like Prophet SKG here are just outclassing Samclan in every way. The Pharah v Pharah duel is always favoring the Cook. The ground war is heavily favoring Prophet SKG, specifically Lil Young, who is doing so well right now. It just seems like Samclan are struggling on every front right now, but they have the ults. This is still in the game.
Oh, no! Finds 3 with a barrage. Lil Young gets 1 with a meteor strike. There are 41 seconds left to go, and we've got a pause, which right in the middle of the action. Incredibly frustrating. Love to know what's going on here. Hopefully our producer will give us a little bit of a word as to what is going on. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a Discord complaint, which I think we were having a complaint about. This is one of the reasons we were late here. We were having technical issues, our teams not being able to hear that game audio. So we'll give us a minute and we'll try and figure out exactly when we can expect to be back. But honestly, as things are, it's not looking great for Samclan with only 40 seconds left on the clock.
No, it's really not. And this fight, too, is just proving what I'm saying, that in general, Prophet SKG are outclassing Samclan. It really just feels like no matter what Samclan throw at them, nothing works out. And now, even though they're 3 ults deep here on the side of Prophet SKG, with 40 seconds left, they're still looking to be in a pretty good spot. Samclan's only hope really is either going to be in the Supercharger or the Graphitic Flux they have coming up. 2 very powerful ultimates, fight-winning ultimates, but it's about whether or not they can actually get the value.
And of course, they've only got 40 seconds to get to the point and actually get into a position to do them, because at this point, you kind of need to just get there and use them and hope for the best. And they will, of course, be coming into Zetsu's Gravitic Flux, which can probably stop them even getting on the point in the first place, and certainly from making use of some of their other ultimates. So this is a real uphill fight for Samclan.
Yeah, here's the thing. Samclan need to be very aggressive on this approach. They need to charge their Gravitic Flux immediately, and they have to somehow get it off before Zetsu. I think if Zetsu gets it off and gets more than one pick, it's over for Samclan. They're not going to be able to finish.
The second it becomes a 5v6, it requires some ridiculous heroics that to go any other way. If they can stall this out, there's a good chance they're going to have JMSAP's Meteor Strike in here as well, which is another thing that you could potentially combo with a Gravitic Flux if you get that timing just right. There is a little window of time at the end of the Gravitic Flux where the subject is stuck to the ground.
True.
And so if there's not been enough damage from the Gravitic Flux itself, that might be enough to get enough kills to get this done. But honestly, it's going to be really hard to even get to the point to do it.
Yeah, again, it's looking pretty grim here for Samclan. But again, like we keep saying, like they got a chance here. Even just something as simple as a halt punch giving you that 1-up, giving you that 5v6, that's already going to be huge. And that's just simply 2 right clicks working together.
And I think it's a thing that we've not really seen that much from Samclan. I feel like we maybe have been spectating Prophet a little bit more, but you can see the work going into the halt pulls, the halt meteor strikes. And I just don't think that level of synergy, coordination, teamwork, whatever you want to call it, is there for Samclan yet.
No, definitely not. And that's something they do. It's bad to say, but they might have to work on mid-match, because they are on the cusp of potentially, it's not over yet, but potentially getting 2-0'd and having Prophet SKG rather put themselves on match point here. And Samclan, they gotta be sweating. It is a tall order.
Okay, but hypothetically, if you're Samclan here and this composition that you've been running has not worked so far, what do you change here? What's the alternative approach to solving this problem?
If we're talking this last fight, or maybe in general?
Hypothetically, if they could have a do-over for this.
If they could have a do-over, again, I really think it's just they're not, Albino and specifically, not really getting any value out of the halt. Samclan, like, no value. I didn't see any attempt at a halt punch, halt flux, halt meteor strike, anything. And it just shows that, like you mentioned earlier, the coordination isn't quite there on the level that we're seeing from Prophet SKG. And this meta we're in right now is very synergy dependent. Not unlike GOATs, if you really think about it.
Yeah, this is it's a play style that looks a little. Oh, hang on, we are coming out of our pause. We can actually get back into the action.
No more hypotheticals.
No more hypotheticals. The Kirk looking for that last load of damage onto Raiden, doesn't manage to get it. There's the supercharger now online for Albino, but at 25 seconds left to go and a lot of ground to cover. We need somebody to come in and touch. I think we may see, if JMSAP can get this final little bit of ult charge, we may see him try and trigger that overtime just by getting onto point with the Meteor Strike. JMSAP will have it ready to go, but the Cook managing to find Raiden is huge. JMSAP now with the Meteor Strike, looking for a target, not able to find anything, and whilst he was up in the air, safe and sound, his team were being picked apart by the one-man army that is Lilia.
Yeah, and props to Prophet SKG, understanding their win condition, and at the same time Samclan's win condition, immediately committing the Graphitic Flux there, getting that early kill, or getting those early kills rather, really put Lil Young in a good position to just clean up the rest of Samclan. And you could see there, Samclan at the end there, They managed to finally get their flux out, but they were already so many members down. It didn't matter anymore. They didn't have the time to do it. And with 30 seconds, it's hard to blame them.
It is, but it's really frustrating to be in this position where you know what the meta composition is, and this Barra Doomfist double shield comp is a thing that we've seen so much today. To be in a position where you kind of know what the best answer is, and to just routinely not be able to run it as well as your opponent has got to be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. In the middle of the match, if nothing you're throwing out is working, yeah, it can really get to you, weigh you down, and that is how you get mentally boomed there. But it's gonna be on Samclan. Even if they lose this map, there's still the potential of them coming back. Can they pull it back together and actually, make this more of a series here, get themselves on the board? I hope so.
So one of the things that I routinely come back to as a caster is the fact that it's very difficult to predict the winner of a series based on what happens on the control map. But based on what we've seen on this first round defense, I'd be very surprised if Sam can bring this back unless we see a real step change in quality of play here.
Yeah, I completely agree. So now on this defense, Samclan, nothing really innovative here, not reinventing the wheel. It's just the same comps we saw last round, both running this Vara Doom mirror, but Samclan really needs to be on the aggressive on this defense. Don't give away space, kind of like they're doing right now to Profit.
Big rock onto Lilium, healed right up again, and that's the opening pick. JMSAP down already. You did see the initial dive coming in, failing to get the kill onto the Orisa. Now more than made up for. Lilium with a third, getting all the kills in this team fight. It is just the Pharah left alive, and not even that anymore. Down goes the Pharah. The Moira with the fade, desperately trying to hang on to this. In comes the Doom, but immediately melted back down again by Lilium. Lilium pushing forward, would really like this fight to be over, and that is it. A hugely speedy run through that map to cap that point.
And again, like I was saying, discipline as a Doomfist is very important. In that first fight, we saw JMSAP immediately overstay his welcome into the back line of Prophet SKG, and upon doing so, gets promptly just dismantled by Lil Young and immediately losing your Doomfist. Not just any member, your Doomfist, one of the two most important members in this composition in terms of sustain and comeback potential. There's really no way it's so hard to come back unless you can get a really ballsy res.
And those days of getting that mercy res from cover where you could do it nice and safe and not put yourself at risk are long gone. Getting the res now, unless you've got a shield there to really help you through, is really kind of tricky. And in theory, there are a bunch of shields available to both teams to enable that. But I think there are too many people that died too quickly on that offensive run to really make a res even a viable option. Even if you can bring your Orisa back into the fight, for example, if you're already down another member, it's just prolonging the inevitable, really.
Yeah, it's true. And again, I think the biggest problems here Samclan need to work on is the coordination, and JMSAP on this Doomfist has been a little bit of a sore spot, I want to say. He, again, doing things like overstaying your welcome in the enemy backline, not being able to really convert your ultimate into kills. And honestly, you don't see him on the kill feed that much. He has trouble charging his ultimate at times. I think that is part of the problem here for Samclan.
I completely agree. They have at least one more go at trying to fix this problem, because this is the first to three. We're at match point. If Profit can take this final map, they take the 3-0 in the series, and they move forward in the losers bracket to face off against Banshees. So Samclan, one more bite of the cherry, and I'd really like to see them mix things up a bit, because I just don't think that the Doomfist Pharah comp is really working for them at the minute.
No, it's really not. And here's the thing: if you're running against a double shield comp with the Doomfist Pharah, you don't have to mirror it to beat it. That's the thing. A lot of maps, because of how far away the Pharah needs to play for the most part, you do have an opportunity as the Doomfist Reaper team to just immediately rush the enemy members on the ground. And because Pharah has to use so many of her movement abilities to actually close that space, by the time you do that, you've taken a 4v6 and you've won it.
It is a little bit of a high risk, high reward situation. It requires your Pharah to be very good at hitting the direct rockets in order to secure at the very least a 5v4 at the choke, and then hopefully
Yeah.
enough damage into that mass of people trying to get through a choke to secure a kill for someone else on your team.
That's true. A lot. What I just said, it definitely depends on you, especially on a map like Hanamura. It depends on your team being able to make it through the choke relatively unscathed. And that's why if you're not running the Doom Pharah, you don't have to run the Mercy. Therefore, your main support will be on the Lucio. You have that speed, which will make it easier to get through the choke, close the distance, and initially, again, take that 6v4. So there are options available. It doesn't have to be the Pharah mirror.
I quite agree. And we're actually seeing something a little bit different here. And it's a thing that we have seen a little bit of earlier today. Swapping out the Doomfist in favor of a Bastion. Maintaining that Pharah, that's certainly what we're seeing for the defense. Gives you a couple of different high-risk angles to deal with.
The Cook doing so well. Almost went on a clinic here as a Pharah. Oh, but what do we see here?
Raiden went for the early scout, did get found out, but has a good idea how the setup looks. Now going to be swapping back over to the Pharah. And Raiden going to be swapping over onto the Sim. We may see a little bit of a bouncing Bastion strat coming out here.
Yeah, I think the idea here is so that Samclan, really smart of them actually, they're going to try to use the teleporter to A, make sure they can get a better position.
Oh, but they lose Albino already, even with the Immortality field down. It wasn't enough, but they do need to get in on top of that, and that's going to be Hades getting rid of JM5 AP. Lilium has not had to leave his perch up here at all. They did lose a tick. Didn't quite give up the second one, but it was quite a convincing team fight once they actually realized what was going on.
Still, Samclan managed to get almost two ticks there in that fight. Whoa, what?
What happened there? Zetsu and Dutchman both down. Love to know what's going on there. Oh, Zetsu coming back on the Wrecking Ball. That's at least going to help them get back into place. The Cook took a lot of damage there. Going to take a step back, hoping to give Dutchman a little bit of time to get in. There we go. With the familiar pocket in place, back into the fight. And Samclan were just not quick enough to capitalize on it.
No, and that's too bad because Samclan did have a really good opportunity here. But still, now that the Zetsu's on the Wrecking Ball and not the Sigma, this is a really good spot for Samclan to be in. I don't know what happened to Zetsu, why he had to swap off, but now this is Samclan's best opportunity because the Bastion does really well against the Wrecking Ball.
That was so quick. The turnaround from the Cook, identifying where the problem was and just completely deleting that teleporter was really, truly impressive. And that is going to be the Immortality field down, both Immortality fields down, in fact, and the Cook in prime position to get a barrage off and keep this point in favor of the team. Hades down already, but rezzed back up again by Dutchman. Lilium coming in with the configuration tank through that amp matrix, and now just the regular fire. Lilium able to find Alpha Gamer, reloads, takes down the Immortality field, is able to find Kozio as well, and that is going to be pretty much all they wrote here. It is just going to be Albino with the supercharger left on point, going for that big old hard reset into the ground.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Albino ended up committing the supercharger, but Samclan still got some pretty key ults out of Prophet SKG. If they play this just right, between the Bastion ult, the tank configuration, and the Photonic Barrier, Samclan have a shot here, but they have to play this just right. Use the barrier to give themselves an opportunity to get to the point, and once they establish themselves, JM5 has got to do work.
But again, they took too long to get it set up, and the Cook was able to get in and get a pick. And now they've got less than a minute to try and make this work. And they're going to be coming into a supercharger against a Bastion of their own. And Lilium has demonstrated they are very, very good at making this Bastion pick work.
Yeah, and as they wait for PRH to come back from spawn, this is going to be the last opportunity here, but out comes the Photonic Barrier.
And they have managed to successfully get the TP into place, but the Cook able to get Kozio straight off the bat. They haven't realized he's there, and between that and the minefield, that is going to be it. 30 seconds left to go on the clock. Just the Sigma going for the reset, not allowed, brought back in, and that's going to be Alpha Gamer down. They get one more go, but it's going to be hard work.
It is. All they have left is JM5's ultimate, and in the long fight, Alpha Gamer's Graffiti Fox as well, but Bastion, like I said, JM5, oh no, as I say that, JM5 back to the Doomfist. It's all about mobility at this point. Samclan have to get to the point right now.
Yeah, Reaper as well. And in comes the barrage. Round from the back is going to find Albino. Raiden goes down as well. Hades with the meta kill to take PRH out of the fight. JM5 app. Valiant effort to keep that alive. Alpha Gamer, sad but true, over and done with. Nice attempt to stall out there at the end, but that kinetic grasp, not enough to keep you alive against a full team.
Unfortunately, Samclan just couldn't make it work for them there, but still, getting almost 2 ticks means they do have the opportunity to still get a win from this map. They just gotta commit what we like to call the Fuller hold.
It's a big ask. Based on what we've seen so far, it just seems
really
like Samclan don't have the synergy they need to do this. Now, I am quite happy to be proven wrong here. I'd love to see these guys go to another round, but honestly, we've got to see that step change. That step change has to happen for us to see them take this full hold.
Yeah, and another thing, especially on this map, Samclan are struggling with, it's just tempo. They really don't understand. It's funny that you bring it up the way you do, Phil, saying we got to see that step up. It's like their steps are too slow. When they have opportunities, they kind of hesitate, like, oh, maybe we should move in now. By then, it's too late. It's all these small interactions where you have to realize, okay, it's time to go.
There's interesting interaction happening there in the character select feed of Lil Young and the Cook maybe having picked the wrong characters that time, having to swap out and swap roles. But they are going to be going for a teleporting Bastion strat of their own, whilst it looks like Samclan going to be coming out with the old familiar defense that we just saw coming out from Prophet as well, with that Pharah and Bastion. But whether or not they can make it work as well and facilitate the full hold, well, that's what remains to be seen.
Yeah, hopefully Samclan can dig down really deep and manage to pull some sort of victory out of this map. But here we go. JM5 going to try and do his best to cook impression, get some really key picks early on, and buy as much time as possible for his team.
Oh, well, interrupted there with the Concussive Blast. That TP might not quite have gone where they wanted to. Had to already invest the Immortality Field just to keep everybody alive through that. And now we've got those turrets on point. That's given Prophet pretty much the defensive position here, because it means that it's going to be very hard for them to actually get in and contest. But we've got a TP round the back. Now the Bastion is set up and ready to go. They can start putting a couple of feet in place. And it looks like the Cook thinks he's got an angle through. Lil Young able to get the first pick, so that's Alpha Gamer down already. The Cook building up to that charge. JM5 AP came up big with that barrage, but it may be too little, too late as we hit 54%. The Cook at full charge, and that is going to be the end of the game. Prophet taking that 3-0 in speedy fashion here in the Monkey Bubble EU Invitational.
Amazing work here from Prophet. Really, just it feels like it was effortless for them to make their way through to this 3-0. Samclan, unfortunately, out of the tournament as of this moment, but there's definitely a lot to take away for them to improve themselves for future tournaments.
And of course, worth bringing up at this point that this tournament is supported in part by Insights.gg. It's an online VOD analysis and review tool. So there are certainly some options there for Samclan to take some of these VODs away from this and have a look back through using Insights.gg to really step up their improvement. But it's unfortunate we are, as you say, going to be having to say goodbye to Samclan. But Prophet moving forward into the next round of the losers bracket, coming up against Banshee Esports. And I think that has the potential to be a very close match. I think the two teams there look very well matched from what I've seen from them today.
Yeah, 100%. And that match will be tomorrow, so you should definitely check that out. It is sure to be a banger.
Completely agree with that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there around to cast that. This is the last of my casts for this particular round of the Invitational, which is always sad to see. They're always very good fun to be involved with. But I believe you're coming back for a couple more. Is that right, Beat?
Yeah, I will. I gotta just waiting for the schedule, but this is not the last you've seen of me. That's for sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm just trying to find out from our producer if we're likely to get an interview at the end of this match. So bear with me while we figure that out. Okay, we are hopefully getting Mr. Mustachio into the chat. We'll have a quick chat about his team's performance. So based, just whilst we're waiting on Mr. Mustachio, based on that last round, what was the key ingredient that was missing for Samclan? that stopped them being able to take that slightly further on to the series?
I think that one was about not really understanding the tempo shift that they required. Like we were talking about before, that last attack round started there for Samclan. Samclan are really slow on shifting gears and realizing that, okay, we have an opportunity. We have to we don't want to walk through. We have to run through right now. And that inability to do so, I think, was what hurt them the most on Hanamura.
Well, we now get a chance to talk to one of the victors, Mr. Mustachio, who is in fact the coach for Profit. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mustachio. How are you feeling on the back of that win?
No problem. Well, it feels pretty good after after coming down with a loss. First of all, it feels good to pick it back up and stay in the tournament.
Grand. And you're going to be going up against Banshee Esports. Have you had a chance to check out any of their VODs? Obviously, you've been maybe a little busy with the tournament so far.
Oh, have they been streamed even? I haven't.
Yes, I think they were the first of the English language streams. I've certainly cast over them today.
Well, thank you for definitely look at that in a bit.
Okay, yeah, I think you'll see a lot of similarities. I feel on the back of having seen you play just now that you have the potential to be a very well matched team coming into that fight tomorrow. So I can't wait to see how that works out for you. So thinking to this match that we've just seen, I was talking to Beat before you came in about what we thought the missing ingredient for Samclan was. What do you think it is that Profit had that allowed you to really advance a very quick win here?
Well, first of all, I was mostly watching my own team more than the opponents.
Fair.
But I feel like both we excelled better in pulling off some of our combos. I think you mentioned that during the cast as well, like our pull punches, etc. But I also think the individual skill of some of our players is just on a high level, especially the skill of the DPS players matters quite a lot in this meta.
Yeah, Lil Young for us was a particular standout, a very impressive Doomfist player.
Yeah, definitely.
B,
any questions you'd like to throw to Mr. Mustachio?
One actually I did wonder about. So why, although you played some favorable maps for the Pharah, why is your team so hard committed to it? Not that it's a bad thing, just that a lot of maps like that, I see teams run the Doom Reaper instead.
So the biggest reason for us to run Pharah is because it gives us a good opportunity to counter the Doom Reaper. Because if you think about it, it's quite hard for those heroes to reach the Pharah, and meaning that if we set up on defense with the Pharah, we force our opponents to take some sort of hit scan or something along those lines, and it makes it awkward for them. They have to basically, the only good option for them is to try to snipe our Pharah out of the air with like a Sigma, or to go pharmacy themselves. And if we are better at pharmacy than them, you win.
It's quite a strategic take on that. But Mr. Mustachio, I think that's maybe all that we have in terms of questions. Is there anything that you'd like to plug, your social media, etc.?
Well, you can follow me, but you can also follow Profit SKG on Twitter. I don't know the handle on the top of my head.
Presumably, it's pretty easy to search. I think if you search Profit SKG,
it's pretty easy to search, and I don't know, can plug Easy Scrims as well.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'd forgotten you were involved in that. Yeah, Easy Scrims. If you want to get, you have to plug it. Yeah. Easy Scrims, for those of you not familiar, it's a workshop mode to facilitate scrims, as the name would imply. Absolutely, give that a look. It's very, very useful. But certainly, again, Mr. Mustachio, thank you very much for coming and talking with us. Good luck with the rest of your run through the losers bracket. Hopefully, we'll see you further on. But from myself and from Beat and from the rest of us here at Monkey Bubble, that is going to be the end of the broadcast for today. But if you are hungry for more, there is, of course, a lot more going on over the course of the weekend. So stay tuned to social media for more information about when and where you can come and watch more of the Monkey Bubble EU Invitational.
This tournament was sponsored by Insights, a platform for gamers to learn and teach at the comfort of their own PC. Get your account today.